Well, I would like to do a comparison and contrast between Blake Crouch's 2022 science fiction novel Upgrade and the 2018 Australian film Upgrade. They take different approaches to kind of a similar topic. The Crouch SF novel tells the story of Logan Ramsay, U.S. Gene Protection Agency agent, his mother Miriam, a genetic scientist who mistakenly creates a global disaster resulting in 200 million starvation deaths. Now, this happens when Logan is young, and he's about a 30-year-old man at the time the story takes place, married with one child. And also Logan's sister, Kara, who has been a professional soldier for many years. So, Logan works for the GPA in an attempt to atone for his mother's mistakes. During an arrest gone wrong, Logan is genetically engineered and after a brief interim, rapidly becomes Superman. No telepathy or telekinesis. He is stronger, faster, and far more intelligent with an incredible immune system and incredible healing abilities. Besides having perfect recall of everything he has ever read. He develops predictive abilities through his reading and experiences and his intelligence. And he can kind of tell what people are going to do before they do it, which is about as close as he comes to telekinesis or telepathy. But for all of this, he is locked up by the GPA. And so he's been in prison for a while, and it's not unpleasant. They're not mistreating him or anything. But Kara shows up and breaks him out with her military friends. They realize that she has been genetically enhanced as well, and surmise correctly that their mother is not dead and has engineered them. From this point on, the book changes a little bit. There's a lot of action and introspection by the main characters and philosophical debate between the main characters. And we hear all this mostly through Logan's inner dialogue as he is considering this genetic engineering, kind of a worldwide disaster. All nations have a version of the GPA, and they are trying to keep the human race as the human race. So Kara and Logan are split on what should be done with Mom's genetic recipe and their own capabilities. Kara wants to infect the whole world, and she's willing to accept 20% casualties as the upgrade itself literally kills 20% of the people who undergo it. So at this point, I was very impressed with Crouch's writing abilities, plot and character development, descriptive prose, and the research that he did for this novel was great. And there are even a few slogans, sort of like Out of the World of Null A, and The Weapon Shops of Isher, and 1984. So I can't really discuss much more with what's going on with this book, because if I do, it will ruin the surprises. Now, Crouch does include what appears to be two endings, and I much preferred the first ending. You may think otherwise, and I would like to read just a little bit of one part of the book. This is only on page 11, and this is Logan thinking to himself, "We lived in a veritable surveillance state, engaged with screens more than with our loved ones, and the algorithms knew us better than we knew ourselves. Every passing year, more jobs were lost to automation and artificial intelligence. The book is littered with things like this. I feel that Crouch was not just writing an adventure novel here. He wants people to think about what's going on. So that's Blake Crouch Upgrade, and there's a lot more if you read the book. And this is Upgrade, the 2018 Australian movie. I've watched this several times. I think this movie is really, really good. And the special effects are great. The acting is great. The guy who plays the main character, Gray Trace, he does an amazing job. So with this, the film studies implanted AI-assisted human prosthesis and a lot more. The main characters are Gray Trace, and I was an engineering technician. Gray trace is a wiring term. You could have a white trace on an orange wire or a gray trace on a black wire, and they would all go to the specific places in whatever wiring harness you're working on or something like that. So his name is Gray Trace, and the two main characters, Gray and STEM, S-T-E-M, the implant. Now, Gray is really a technophobe, and he likes working on old muscle cars, and he listens to records on a record player, and his wife uses, all the high-tech self-driving vehicles and things like that, but he does not. So he's working on a car that has to be delivered, and Gray and his wife delivered the repaired muscle car to a famous tech company wizard who's fabulously wealthy and lives in a giant hole in the ground that is actually like almost an industrial plant. So after they deliver the car, and on the way home, the car malfunctions, her car malfunctions, and they can't control it, and they are attacked and mugged. Gray loses his wife, and he is totally paralyzed. He's in the hospital, and his mother comes in, and he can't move. All he can do is move his face, basically. And the tech wizard visits Gray in the hospital and explains that his STEM implant device that he has engineered may be able to restore his ability to walk. So he undergoes the surgery. STEM works amazingly well, and Gray and STEM then set out to find the perpetrators of his wife's death. The movie seems to now be a standard revenge film, and I do have to warn about violence, because the movie does get very violent at this point. But if you watch the last 15 minutes of this movie very closely, the movie is really about all the issues confronting the world regarding AI that we are now facing. And the movie ends with incredible science fiction plots that have been discussed for, the last 70, 80 years in science fiction. So I hope everyone would take a peek at this